A tasking memorandum sits on the operations desk at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, late on a Tuesday evening. The memo describes a single operational requirement against a single target package in a single country that does not appear on the public assignment list. 3 signature lines run down the right margin of the document. The first line carries the signature of a Delta Force squadron commander, and next to his signature is a single word in his own handwriting: declined. The second line carries the signature of a Naval Special Warfare Development Group commander, and next to his signature is the same word: declined. The third line carries the signature of a British 22 Special Air Service Squadron commander, and next to his signature is the same word: declined. The 3 most expensive direct action units on Earth have all said no to the same mission. The mission still gets done. The document continues on the next page, where a 4th signature line appears, this one on Central Intelligence Agency letterhead, and the answer there is yes. This is the story of mission profile alignment, the unspoken doctrine of institutional refusal inside the United States Tier 1 community, and the unit that quietly inherits every tasking the Tier 1 trio declines. The architecture is older than most viewers realize, and the refusal pattern is more honest than any military movie has ever depicted. Before we get to who took the mission, hit subscribe, because the answer is in the seam between Title 10 and Title 50, and the seam was engineered. The Joint Special Operations Command, JSOC, pronounced JSOC, is the parent command for United States Tier 1 direct action units. JSOC was established in 1980, in direct response to the failure of Operation Eagle Claw, and its founding mandate was to create a unified command capable of tasking the most expensive units in the United States military with the most demanding operations the United States government could authorize. Inside that mandate, JSOC has tasking authority over Delta Force, DEVGRU, the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, the 24th Special Tactics Squadron, and the Intelligence Support Activity. Each unit has a defined mission set. Each mission set has a documented boundary, and when a tasking arrives at JSOC that does not fit cleanly inside any of those boundaries, the doctrine says JSOC has 3 options: force the mission into a unit that does not own it, refuse the mission entirely, or pass it to a 4th institution that operates under different statutory authority. Delta Force is the United States Army Tier 1 direct action element. Its formal designation is the 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta. Inside the unit, it is called CAG, pronounced CAG, or simply the unit. Delta's mission set is overland counterterrorism, hostage rescue, direct action against high-value targets, intelligence support, and certain categories of strategic reconnaissance. The unit was founded by Colonel Charles Beckwith in 1977. It is based at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, which the Pentagon renamed and then renamed back. The audience of this channel knows the name. The unit does not. DEVGRU is the United States Navy Tier 1 direct action element. Its formal designation is the Naval Special Warfare Development Group. It was established in 1980 out of the original SEAL Team 6 concept, and it became the formal designation in 1987. DEVGRU is based at Dam Neck Annex, Naval Air Station Oceana, Virginia Beach, Virginia. DEVGRU's mission set is maritime counterterrorism, ship and oil platform hostage rescue, diver-delivered direct action, and certain categories of overland high-value target direct action that overlap with Delta's lane. The British 22 Special Air Service is the United Kingdom's Tier 1 direct action element. It was founded by David Stirling in 1941. It is based at Hereford, England. The SAS mission set is overland direct action, counterterrorism, hostage rescue, deep reconnaissance, intelligence-led raid, and strategic capability against state and non-state actors anywhere the United Kingdom government decides to send it. The SAS is older than Delta by 36 years and older than DEVGRU by 39 years. It is the institutional model from which both American units were partially derived. These 3 units are not interchangeable. Their mission sets overlap at the edges, but the centers of their doctrine are distinct. Delta is overland first, intelligence-rich, infrastructure-dependent. DEVGRU is maritime first, equipment-heavy, training-intensive. SAS is generalist first, improvisation-fluent, kit-light. The cross-attachment programs between them, which have run since the early 1980s, are not about producing interchangeable operators. They are about producing operators who understand the doctrinal boundary of their home unit, and the doctrinal boundary of the partner unit. The cross-attachment is the boundary education. If you want to know what the mission was, that all three declined, hit subscribe. Because before we get to the mission profile, we have to understand why institutional refusal is the unspoken sign of Tier 1 maturity. A Tier 1 unit that takes every tasking it is offered is a unit that has not yet learned its own doctrine. Beckwith documented this in his 1983 memoir. He wrote that the most important capability he was building at Fort Bragg in the late 70s was not direct action proficiency. It was the institutional discipline to refuse missions that did not align with the unit's defined competence. The reason was operational. A mission that does not match the unit's mission profile produces compromised execution. Compromised execution produces casualties. Casualties produce institutional damage that compounds across deployment cycles. Beckwith argued, and his successors continued to argue, that the willingness to decline a tasking is the difference between a Tier 1 unit and a high-end direct action capability. DevGru developed the same doctrine independently in the early 80s. The first DevGru commander, Richard Marcinko, wrote in his own memoir about the institutional pressure to accept every maritime tasking the Navy could generate. Marcinko's response, documented across multiple sources, was to create a tasking review board inside DevGru that filtered every incoming request against the unit's documented mission profile. If the tasking matched, DevGru took it. If it did not match, DevGru declined, and the documentation explained why. The SAS developed the same doctrine much earlier, in the late 1940s, after the unit was disbanded following the Second World War, and then reconstituted from Malaya in 1950. The institutional memory of the SAS includes the lesson that taking missions outside the unit's mission profile produces capability dilution and operational failure. Hereford institutionalized this through the squadron commander review of every tasking, with a documented preference for refusing missions that did not align with Sabre squadron capability. So when the same mission arrives at all three units in late 2013, and all three units decline it, the refusal is not coincidence. It is convergent institutional doctrine. The mission in question, on the document at Fort Bragg, requires a force package profile that none of the three units has been trained to deliver. The target is in a country where direct action under Title 10 military authority would create a significant diplomatic incident if exposed. The operation requires sustained presence over a 14-day window, which exceeds standard direct action raid durations by an order of magnitude. The intelligence backbone for the operation must come from a non-military source. And the legal authority for the operation must allow deniability in a way that Title 10 cannot provide. If you have made it this far, you are not here for the surface. The cadet membership gives you 24-hour early access on every video, the operator emoji in chat, and a place inside the Brotherhood that does not appear on the public feed. Link in description. Back to the mission. The legal architecture is the answer. Title 10 of the United States Code governs the armed forces. Operations conducted under Title 10 are military operations. They are reportable to the Department of Defense. They are notifiable to Congress through standing committees. They are subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice. They are visible in their broad outlines to the public if compromised. Delta, DevGru, and the SAS are all Title 10 units, with the British equivalent statutory framework on the UK side. They operate under military authority. When a mission profile does not fit Title 10, those units cannot legally take it, no matter how competent they are at the underlying tactical work. Title 50 of the United States Code governs intelligence operations. Operations conducted under Title 50 are covert actions. They are reportable to the Director of National Intelligence rather than the Secretary of Defense. They are notifiable to Congress only through the Gang of Eight, which is the chairs and ranking members of the two intelligence committees, plus the Senate majority and minority leaders, and the Speaker and minority leader of the House. They require a presidential finding to authorize. They are deniable in a way that Title 10 cannot match. They can operate in countries where the United States military legally cannot deploy. They can produce outcomes that Title 10 operations cannot legally produce. The Central Intelligence Agency Special Activities Center, Ground Branch, is the United States government's Title 50 paramilitary force. Ground Branch is based at Langley, Virginia. Its officers are recruited preferentially from former Delta Force, DevGru, and 24th Special Tactics Squadron operators. The cross-flow is documented. Many of the ground branch officers running a mission today are men who, 10 years ago, declined that same mission inside their previous unit because the Title 10 architecture did not allow them to take it. They walked across the river, took the same skills, and applied them under Title 50 authority, where the architecture said yes. So the document at Fort Bragg, with 3 declined signatures, is not a record of failure. It is a record of institutional honesty. Delta said no because the mission did not fit Delta's lane. DevGru said no because the mission did not fit DevGru's lane. The SAS said no for the equivalent reason on the UK side. All 3 units honored their own doctrine, and the mission moved to the institution where the doctrine fit. The 4th signature, on the 4th line, is a Special Activities Center authorization. The presidential finding was already in place by the time the document reached the 4th signature. The mission was completed. The after-action report went to the president rather than to a combatant commander. The successful outcome was reported through intelligence channels rather than military channels. The unit that ran the operation does not advertise its name. The unit that ran the operation is staffed in significant part by former operators who declined the same mission 10 years earlier inside their previous Tier 1 unit. The architecture is the answer. The doctrine of institutional refusal is not unique to the United States Tier 1 community. The British Special Forces Directorate runs the same review process on incoming taskings, with the same documented preference for refusing missions that do not fit the deployed unit's doctrine. The Australian Special Air Service Regiment has the same architecture. The Canadian Joint Task Force 2 has the same architecture. Each Tier 1 unit globally has institutionalized the lesson that taking every mission produces capability dilution. The doctrine is universal because the math is universal. What is less universal is the next step. The United States has a 4th institution, the CIA Special Activities Center, with the legal authority and the operator pipeline to absorb the missions the Tier 1 units decline. The United Kingdom has a parallel architecture through the Secret Intelligence Service Increment Program, sometimes referenced as E-Squadron, which provides UK paramilitary capability under intelligence authority. Australia has a smaller version through the Australian Secret Intelligence Service. Canada has a smaller version through the Canadian Security Intelligence Service paramilitary capability. The architecture exists in every mature Tier 1 country. The United States and the United Kingdom run the most documented versions of it. The mission that opened this video, the one with 3 declined signatures, is a real document type, not a real document. The composite is reconstructed from the documented institutional refusal patterns across the Tier 1 community over the last 30 years. The specific missions cannot be cited by name because the ones that produce this pattern are largely still classified. What is documented is the pattern itself, in Sean Naylor's Relentless Strike, in Mark Urban's Task Force Black, in declassified Congressional Research Service summaries of Title 10 versus Title 50 authority, and in the public reporting on CIA ground branch hiring patterns that confirm the operator pipeline runs in exactly the direction this video describes. Here is what the SEAL community will not tell you. The DevGru mission profile is the narrowest of the 3 Tier 1 units in this story. Maritime first, equipment heavy, training intensive. Of the 3 units, DevGru declines proportionally more taskings than Delta or the SAS, because DevGru's lane is the most specific. That institutional honesty is not weakness. It is the most disciplined doctrine in the United States Tier 1 community. Tell me in the comments which unit's refusal pattern you think is the most honest. And if you want to see the parts the channel cannot say publicly, the members-only videos cover the operators we are not allowed to name on the public feed. That is the official tier. Link in description. The document at Fort Bragg, with 3 declined signatures and a 4th approved signature on Central Intelligence Agency letterhead, is the most honest record of how the United States actually runs its most sensitive operations. 3 Tier 1 units honored their lanes. 1 Title 50 institution absorbed the mission. The architecture worked. The mission was completed. The operators on the receiving end of the mission did not know it had been declined 3 times before it found its home. They only knew that the tasking had a presidential finding behind it and that the institutional weight of every preceding institutional refusal had loaded the seriousness of the operation onto their shoulders by the time it reached them. That is the doctrine. The Tier 1 trio knows when to say no. The fourth institution knows what to do with the missions that get there. The next time you read a memoir, watch a documentary, or hear an interview that frames a Tier 1 unit as having declined a mission, listen for what comes next. The mission was not abandoned. The mission moved. Institutional refusal is not failure. Institutional refusal is the architecture of how a mature government conducts its most demanding operations. The architecture has been engineered for almost 50 years. The Tier 1 trio refusing the same mission is not a punchline. It is the doctrine working exactly as Beckwith designed it.